God bless this moment. Can you see me, baby? I'm flying down to your way. Yeah. What a start, actually. I'm going to use that vocal. I just sung something. It sounded fucking sick. Before I press record on the video. How you going, everybody? Number 3. Been sick. Your boy's been sick. Had a bit of a high fever and a bit of a cough for a week. Last week, which was a beautiful synchronicity that also I drove to Kalgoorlie and spent a bit of time with the folks while I was sick and while Ella and Marlie were sick too. So 2 of our girls were with me, made the journey east, and yeah, we all got a bit of a cold. So it was beautiful timing to be back home with mum and dad and just that nurturing, loving mum and dad vibes and nanny and granddad vibes for the kids was very much needed. I couldn't imagine being in Perth. Janina is away, so Janina is like how she likes to be pronounced. That's how her name is in German. She's in Germany. She flies home tonight with our youngest daughter, Maya, who's 9 months. Yeah, they fly home tonight. They've been in Germany for almost 2 weeks. She flew over for her best friend Svenja's wedding. So Svenja and Anis, much love to you, beautiful, beautiful human beings. Anis Habibi is Moroccan, a descent, and he calls me Habibi, which means my love. I love that. I love you, brother, and I love you, Svenny, too. I'm very happy for you too, and I'm very happy that Janina got to be there for your special day, and Maya got to share it too. That's so cool. Seen so many beautiful photos, and just the love in Maya's being. I was going to say eyes, but it goes far beyond just her eyes. Just seeing her whole being light up. Obviously a beautiful reflection of her, and also where Janina was at. She was in her element. Back home, Germany. Summertime, best friend's wedding. I love weddings. They're the best vibes of all time, and and now Janina's talking about us, possibly moving there. So that's interesting. Who knows what the next moment will present itself, but it's exciting. It'd be an adventure. I don't really speak much German, but my girls do. Ella, she's 5, almost 5.5, and she can speak, fluent German. We went over there in November last year, and I guess this is where the conversation is going right now. It's funny to see it. Went over there last year, November, for a few months, and in that space of a couple of months, that's when really Ella stepped into her element of just embracing, and speaking German fluently through trial and error. I got to see what it's like when a little child is moving without thought, and they might stumble, she might struggle with a few words, but it never really registers in her mind of like, what do they think of me? Am I saying the right things? Hopefully I don't make a mistake. These are all the thoughts that go on in my experience when I'm thinking about speaking German, because I can speak it, but not to the level of my 5-year-old daughter. She's just amazing, man. She's a beautiful example of when you just get out of your own way, or when you don't even have thoughts, how much you can actually do, what you can be. You can be limitless, It's always just the confines of the construct of our consciousness that create these barriers or guards. We create these guards that stop us from flowing, stop us from being what we can truly be, which is limitless. We are limitless consciousness. Experiencing a thought of, I hope you understand me. I better say the right thing. What if I make a mistake? You know, all those little self-limiting beliefs that don't exist, but you can experience them and they can be your belief. So how did we get here? I was talking about Germany, that's right, and Ella and Janina gets back tonight. So we're going to pick her up tonight, and Maya, which is beautiful. So I've had almost 2 weeks away from them. And, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Certainly a lot of, I do miss my wife, and a lot of space between us. It brings back to awareness of just how beautiful she is, the person she is, and then also the things that she does do for us and our family. And towards the end, of the time just before going to Germany, there was a little bit of resistance between us of fighting and stuff. And I could see actually now just the level of commitment and devotion and love that she has for our kids is just fucking so beautiful to see it. And I can see it through everything that she is, but also what she does for them in terms of just waking up first thing in the morning. And, when she wakes up and she goes to the couch and sits down and wants some stillness and have a meditation, and then 1 or 2 minutes later, Marlie, she's up and she's running down to the couch and she's in her arms, and then maybe 3 minutes later, then Ella's joined her, and I'm coming back from the office here, coming outside, and I can see all the girls there together, and yeah, to be honest, I fell into this routine of just like a bit of separation in terms of I'm in the office, I'm doing this thing, I'm coming out here, and then the girls are here, right? And I'm not really seeing it from the perception of what Janina's gone through. So, all she wants is a bit of time. All anybody needs is a bit of time to themselves. And everybody deserves that. You got to give yourself that time. Because if you're starting your day and you already have a thought about, okay, I need to relax into this day. I need to, give myself the space to begin. And then things start happening in your environment where they're out of your control, right? Because nothing's really in our control. The kids start coming out, and then they're in your space, and you might have a thought of like, come on, just give me a moment. I just need a moment. That's for me to be observant, instead of just being in my own thoughts of like, oh, I've got to do this and make sure I get the breakfast and everything ready. Really, it's about allowing your partner to have that space for them to center themselves, really, because I couldn't imagine a life. I got to experience it actually the last week since I've been sick, a life of starting my day reacting to what's in front of me, reacting to the toing and froing of life, and like not meditating, not centering yourself. That was my life, up until 2 years ago. Just actually, that's funny. I just took a breath there. I was just taking a moment to realize when it all becomes like a spiritual, when it all becomes your day becomes a spiritual program, and it's through the modalities of, for me, being still, being by myself, closing my eyes in a room by myself, breathing, deep breaths, focusing on that, and then letting go of that, and purely witnessing thoughts, whatever's going on in your head in this moment, right? So this has been happening for me for the last 2 years, and it's really shifted a lot. Witnessing thoughts is the ultimate to shift frequencies. Right, so now we're coming into a bit of science, a bit of quantum physics, and what science shows us is that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It simply is, right? And we are energy. vibrating on a frequency, and every single frequency coexists simultaneously. So we're talking about like your dream world, ideal partner, income, job, place of living, and it all exists now. But what's going on is we're actually seeing this world. This world is actually not reality. It's just a vibration. It's a frequency that we're experiencing, that we are, right? But it's just like a radio station that we're tuned into in this moment. And the thoughts that are going on now are the songs that are playing on this particular radio station. So it could be a rock station and you want to tune into, say, hip hop or something. As you tune into the dial on the radio, the frequency changes, and that's how you shift radio stations, right? But if you tune into the hip hop, it's not like the rock station just dies. It doesn't cease to exist. It still is there. It's just you haven't tuned into it, which is what I'm talking about, all these different frequencies that coexist simultaneously. So you're not creating anything. The physical world is just an expression of the vibration that you're currently in. And that's my science for today. So take with that what you will. But what I'm saying is, for me, the last few years, focusing on the thoughts inside, allowing yourself that space first thing in the morning has been a non-negotiable. However, last week I didn't do much of that at all. I was sick. And I felt that's exactly what I needed in that moment. To be sick. To slow down, because I can get excited. I can get in the habit of doing. And in that doing, I'm just really rushing to the next moment. And sometimes it takes a bit of sickness in the physical world for me to slow down and rest, recoup and just relax and go inside. There's a really cool book here. I'm going to read a page from it. It's called Moments. It's from a woman out of Sweden who sent me a voice message a few weeks ago. Kirsty Glawson. She sent me a voice message a few weeks ago asking if she can have my address. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm from Australia. She's like, yeah, I'm Kirsty, I'm from Sweden. But she sent me a voice message saying that she's been listening to my reels that I've been putting out. She's following me, and I remind her a lot of where she was. And she wrote a book a little bit of time ago, whenever that was, and it's from the source. And she would love to share it with me. She felt compelled to share it, and I said, okay. So yesterday I opened up the mail when I got back from our drive from Kalgoorlie, and this was in it. It's called Moments. And the first page, it says, every opportunity you take to relax makes you freer. I was like, oh, it's literally what we talked about on an awakening workshop yesterday with Steve. He's literally talking about the step one, relax. And I open up this book and it's the first page. So I'm going to read the paragraph that continues from that. Every opportunity you take to relax makes you freer inside and promotes your inner connection with yourself. Only you can give yourself the bonus of warmth and consolation when you find peace within by simply being. You have the right to give yourself what feels good in the moment without believing that you are egotistic or stingy towards others. Everybody has the responsibility for his own well-being, and everybody has the opportunity to choose joy before graveness. That means being in touch with whatever feeling is flowing within, instead of following old assumptions and painful shortcomings, which diminish the will to live. Literally, feel yourself, and your warm, embracing love will grow. This is being in peace with the moment. So that's literally actually what I was talking about before, about giving yourself that time to go inwards, first thing in the morning, and, just witnessing that with Janina on the couch in the morning, and now full circle, her being in Germany, and me definitely more of a hands-on role with the girls. Like, since they were sick as well, they were very I wouldn't say demanding, but just very, very much connected to my space. And I get to see what it's like to wake up and to be straight away into playing the role of parent, because how I had it before is I'd wake up at 3:30 in the morning, and I'd allow myself that time, an hour, as well as having 15 minutes with the Om meditation, and just sitting for an hour just to allow myself to go within. This past week when I've been sick in Kalgoorlie, there's been not much of that. But that's been just as beautiful too. Just to be with the girls and actually really fully be with them. It's been a beautiful time, just watching my girls be. There's some moments where we went to the park, and in this particular park, there's like a gate. You can close it, go in there. Kids are running amok. Ella's with Ivy, or with her cousin, and then I'm with Marlie, and just running around, and I'm seeing them just playing, and then I'm just looking around and observing the parents that are with the kids as well, and I'm seeing like all the parents are just on their phones, and then I'm just seeing these thoughts about these righteousness thoughts about like, oh, look at me, see, I'm here, I'm connected, I'm with the kids, and oh, look at these guys, see, they're on their phones, but really, like, who knows what's going on, and who really cares? It's not my responsibility, but you can always think that I know better, or I'm right. There is no really right or wrong. It's purely your experience. So that was interesting. Had a few cool moments as well. Went to gold panning, and Ella loves gold for some reason, which is hilarious. And so that was really cool for her to see, just to light up and just see all this gold in this room, and like, wow, look at that. Because that's how Kalgoorlie was founded. It was like through Paddy Hannon, who was a prospector looking for gold. And it's just a little gold mining town. Beautiful little town to go with the family, and just to really, this week just gone was just such a beautiful moment of connection, and purely relaxing. I really loved it. Just to disconnect from, where I was, moving around in the office, or, the to and fro of taking the kids to school, which I got to experience the last couple of days, which was interesting because doing it by yourself, it's funny because there's like there's an idea of what you expect. There's an expectation, right? And what I mean by that is like, well, school starts at 8:30 for Ella, so we need to be out the door 8:05 at the latest for the drive. And I'm getting up at 6:30, 6:45 or something in the morning. And how fast time can go when you're by yourself there and, the girl's asleep, getting breakfast ready. Marlie gets up, you're holding her, and then all of a sudden, you're making breakfast, you're playing. Ella gets up. She doesn't want to get up. She wants to stay in bed. Okay, let's do this. All the while, like in your mind, there's just like we gotta go. That's what's going on for me. And sometimes I actually I enjoy just expressing it, especially towards the end, like the last 5 or 10 minutes, the mad dash to get to the car. And I love just saying, we gotta go, and tell the girls, come on, we gotta go. You gotta get dressed. We literally have to go out the door now. We've got to brush our teeth. We've got to do the hair. We'll do the things, But there's always that expectation of it has to be this way because this is the time, and sometimes it is like that. But the more you resist whatever is happening in this moment, the more opportunities will present themselves for you to be delayed. And that's what I found today. And we were a little bit late, so we had to wait half an hour before Ella could go in. But that was really nice too, because I was just sitting out the front of the kindergarten with Ella and Marlie, and we're just talking. And then Ella was just running around, dancing and singing and stuff, and that was really cool too. I got to just be there for that, and I could have easily have been in my head about, oh, we're late, we've missed out, should have got the girls up earlier or whatever, should have done this and that, all those thoughts. But all those thoughts don't really matter because I was exactly where I was needed to be, and so were the girls. Yeah, so a little bit of reflecting on what's important to you. Looking forward to seeing Janina and Maya tonight. Ella has like a winter festival where she's created this little lantern, and they're going to light up all these like candles in the lanterns, and it's about like a winter solstice regarding, the darker, I think it's on the darkest day of the year, or that's tomorrow. And there's a beautiful story actually from Ella's kindergarten. See if I got it here. Let's have a look. Regarding the whole winter festival, it's actually quite powerful, quite awakened this school. A winter festival story. That'd be a good way to finish. So this is from Ella's kindergarten teachers, or the ones at the other class. So this is a story. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Sophie. On the day that she was born, Sophie's parents gave her a lantern so radiant and beautiful that all admired it. But even more resplendent than the lantern was the sparkling starlight in Sophie's eyes. She became known as the girl with the eyes that shone so brightly that it warmed your heart to see her. When Sophie grew to adulthood, she moved into her own home in the woods, where she tended to her animals, her vegetable garden, and helped the local villagers by giving them any extra food she had grown, herbs for healing, or a gentle ear when someone needed a friend and a cup of tea. Over time, however, Sophie noticed that her lantern did not shine as brightly as it had done before, and it sometimes difficult to see what she was doing or where she was going. It was easy to get lost. In the neighboring kingdom there was a young prince. Now the prince heard of the maid with the sparkling eyes and the radiant lantern, and that both were now for some strange reason, becoming dim, less bright, and he made up his mind to visit her. When he at last found her, he told her that he was from the kingdom of the Mountain of the Sun, and that perhaps if she were to come home and to climb on top of the mountain, the sun would rekindle her lantern. Sophie gladly went with the young prince, and together they crossed the marsh, moor, valleys, and hills, up until at last they stood the Mountain of the Sun. Now the mountain was very steep, and the path spiraled all the way to the peak. Together they climbed, and when at last they were nearing the peak, the prince told Sophie for the last part of the journey she must go alone. Thanking the prince for his counsel and companionship, Sophie set off. As she reached the summit, the sun began to rise. The sky lit up with red, gold, yellow, and orange. Upon seeing the sun, Sophie asked if it could rekindle her lamp and her eyes. "I will gladly give you a spark of my sunlight for your lantern," said the sun. "But as for your eyes, you have a greater light within you that is even my bright light. Look within, Sophie. Follow your heart, and you will remember your light." Sophie closed her eyes, placed her hands on her heart, and became very still. In time, Sophie opened her eyes and smiled. Her eyes sparkled with sun, moon, and starlight, and she laughed. I remember who I am. I can see that," smiled Father Sun. "Go now, Sophie. Take your lantern and remember that the greatest light there is the light that shines in your heart. Protect it, nurture it, and be guided by it." Sophie thanked Father Sun and returned down the mountain where the prince was waiting for her. Well, it ended as you might imagine in time. They were married, lived happily ever after. But do you know why? Every morning and every evening, and many times between, the prince and Sophie would take a moment to check into their hearts and to follow the wisdom of the love of the light within. Like Sophie, the winter solstice is an opportunity for us to look at what our lives is lighting us up. Fuck me, man. It's a kindergarten, you know? You have all the answers inside of you. Everything that you're looking for is already here. You don't need reminding of what you already know through outside information. You can let that go. It's not in the next podcast, audiobook, book, YouTube video, scripture. What you're looking for is already inside of you now. All you need to do is relax, because you're already here now. And you can stop your search. Come back. Relax, you're here. You've always been here. There's nothing outside of you that can give you the love that you already are now. And with love, have a great now. Bye-bye.